Well, at a time when all of the job gains in the United States are going to foreigners, because apparently over the last 4 years, native-born Americans have actually lost jobs overall. They've gained none. Apparently it's like 78,000 or something I was reading. But in Switzerland, at least a portion of the population is not taking this same fate lying down. They're going to have a referendum. I don't know if this would technically be a constitutional amendment. That's how referendums work in Switzerland, but they're going to have some kind of a referendum on restricting immigration to keep the population under 10 million. Right now, there's about 9 million people in Switzerland, and according to what I was reading in mainstream European news, France 24, this is not an anti-immigration news organization. They said about a quarter of Switzerland's population are foreign citizens, not just people who are not of native ethnicity or something like that. No. These are just a quarter of the population are foreigners, people who are from other countries, citizens of other countries who have moved to Switzerland. Which is insane to think how you could have a country when a quarter of your population are not your own people. And so about 114,000 people in Switzerland so far have declared that they've had enough, and they want to cut off immigration once the population hits 9.5 million. At that point, immigration is just supposed to be shut off, and this is supposed to be written into the law. And this would be the case up until 2050, and then it would expire then. And I guess you'd have to revisit the question at that point. But when I first read the headline, I thought, is this going to be like one-child policy, like China or something like that, where they're going to be doing forced abortions? It's like, no, actually, it was pretty shocking. In 2022, the population grew by like 75,000 or something like that. 68,000 of which was immigration. 7,900 was the births. So on net, you only had a population increase of 7,900 amongst the native population of Switzerland. So they don't, to stay under 10 million, they're not restricting births is not something that would need to be the case. But if they did get up to there, there's still, from what I can see, there's nothing in this about like trying to do a China-style one-child policy or something like that. There's nothing about restricting people from having children. It is all on restricting immigration. So if the population naturally did get up to 10 million, Switzerland, very small country, there would just be no more immigration. And so sure, if the native population continues to grow, that's that's fine from what I understand as far as this referendum is concerned. They would just say, hey, if we get to be 10 million people in this country, we don't want to be letting in more people. There's not enough room here. We've got enough folks. And if our native population gets to be that high, okay, we're just going to not have as many foreigners. And they are going to need to stop coming in. And the ones who are already here can stay, but no more. And this is a completely reasonable, rational, and should be popular position. People always feel this way about their community. No one likes, I living in Florida, I can tell you, it's not nice to have a bunch of people come from somewhere else and overrun your community, bid up the price of everything. Switzerland, I can't imagine how a native person in Switzerland gets by when you're having to compete with billionaires from all around the world who come in and buy up your country. Boy, if I could sign a referendum tomorrow, or vote for a referendum, get it passed to limit the population of Florida to 10 million, and if it goes over 10 million, to shut off all immigration, whether they come from other countries or from other states in the Union, I would be all for it. And we're way over 10 million now anyway, so obviously that would just mean cutting it off, period. And it's a very similar situation for Switzerland. It actually would not be very different at all because Switzerland is a part of the Schengen zone. So anyone from Europe is allowed to move to Switzerland as of right now. And, if you've got 1 foot in Europe, let's say, you're one of these boat people who came across on a raft from Libya, and you land in, oh gosh, what's that part of southern Italy? Calabria, right? Okay, let's say you land in Calabria. You've got 1 foot on European soil, and you get migrant status or something like that, refugee, you're whatever. Any of these countries, they let you in. You can just march on into Switzerland and plant your roots. And this referendum would put an end to that. Switzerland would have to get out of the Schengen zone because they would say, sorry, Europe, we're not taking your refugees anymore. I think I was reading in this article, Switzerland took in about 30,000 refugees in 2022. This is a tiny little country. And it's mostly mountains anyway. It's not like there's a lot of space to build stuff. Unlike here where everything's flat and they just clear cut all the natural vegetation and plant all of their, faux tropical non-native plants that all these Yankees associate with Florida for some reason, even though none of these plants actually grow here, and they take an immense amount of pesticides and chemical fertilizers just to keep them alive. And they bid up the price of the rent for a friggin' studio apartment to $2,000 a month. I mean, I couldn't imagine, living here. It's not. This is no New York City. I'll put it that way. It's not like you got everything. This is just a normal town that I live in Florida, and you spend $2,000 a month on rent, and you don't even get a bedroom. And so I can't imagine how much worse the situation is in Switzerland, especially when you're having to pay taxes to subsidize the existence of all these damn refugees, so quote unquote refugees, economic migrants who, acting in their own rational self-interest, say, gee, I can get free money if I go to Europe. Okay, I'll do that. That's better than trying to work for a living down here in Morocco. So I doubt this will pass, considering that 25% of the I don't know if all those people can vote, but 25% of the population is foreign-born. So a good chunk of them, I'm sure, have the right to vote. And so they will obviously vote against this. But then again, who knows? Maybe, the kinds of rich folks who tend to buy their way into Switzerland, maybe they would be happy since they already have citizenship. Yeah, make it more exclusive. Cut off all the new people. Slam the door shut behind you. Well, I could see them having that kind of a mindset, and I think that would help, the native-born population try and get this passed, because for a lot of these people, Switzerland is their little playground. That's their refuge. That's where they go to be peaceful. Sure, they might vote to have, France overrun with migrants and destroy Paris, but they still want to have Geneva to flee to. And so maybe that will allow Switzerland the opportunity to try and preserve itself. So anyway, with that said, I will see you folks back here in the next one.